due to the new downtown area, we had an increase in demand for goods and the import rates have going up and up. We also had an increase in unemployment, and to control that, Damascus County have decided to allow the construction of new industries around the city. It will start with an expansion of the currently built ore industry, followed by new farm areas, forestry industry, and a new area for oil exploration. The goal is to reduce the imports of goods and to decrease the number of unemployed people in the city. Welcome to Cities Skylines and welcome to Damascus City. So, as you know, last time we have prepared to build some new industries in here. We currently have the ore industry, we have the oil industry we set aside a space for the oil industry, for forestry and farm, but I will do a small change. Instead of having forestry around here, I'll move this back into this area because, I just feel like it's even more on the fringe of the city. We might use this for other things, really, and this might be a better area for that. It has connection to the rail system still. I might just do a connection over here because I think those two need to be connected. I don't know why they weren't before. The farm be connected to the rail over there as well, and the oil we'll have to take a look at that, but I think this might be an opportunity for oil industry to use the same cargo station and the quarry. So we are a 4-star quarry at the moment. The goal is to reach to a 5-star. I'll build all of the industry all together. So obviously I'll start with one while we wait that for leveling up, we'll go into the next and so on. And in between, while we wait, we'll do some improvements around all areas in here. In building the forestry in here, that'll give me another reason to also start building in this area. We do have a connection in here. We will require a lot of new connections. So while we start building, I'll probably do some temporary connections. And again, while we wait for things to happen, then I might go and do some junctions in there. Because if you know me, you know that they'll take a while to happen. Talk about numbers, I mentioned at the beginning that we're importing still quite a lot of goods. As you can see, more than half of our imports are from goods, and these industries will hopefully help us with that. And then unemployment, this is shifting between 8 and 9%. Our goal is to get this down to potentially 4 to 5% as well. If along the way we need more people, we will expand the residential, but we'll see how that goes. Now, I'll do a very quick build. Hopefully you enjoy that and listen to the music, and we'll be back in a few minutes. And we are back in our quarry with a 5-star industry in here right now. As you can probably see, the buildings at the back there just tell you all about that. By the way, we're gonna look into the numbers in a minute, but before we do that, let's take a look at the changes in here. So starting the quarry, we do have a few extra buildings here for mining. We had the large underground buildings that were replaced as well. We do have these general storage. We also have a couple more storage warehouses in here, and those water EQ plants. which will produce metal for us. And by the way, we might have yeah, we're keeping this empty, but we have 9 trucks in use, and also this one is pretty full, but we are waiting for the trucks to come back. And there we go. Oh, we also had, I think, a couple more grinding mills and the ore industry workers barracks, because we haven't had that in the past, which was like, oh, what am I missing here? Another change just over here. So this area is starting to take shape now. I thought our oil industry would grow quite a lot more than that, to be honest. But in this small area, so or basically this is our oil industry plus the barracks and main buildings over here. And everything else is actually residential over there, just to help bring more people, because we did need more people coming in. We are 102,000 people in the city, which is fantastic, but we are also a 5-star in our dark liquid technologies, so producing quite a lot of petroleum, plastic, and all that sort of good stuff, as you can see over here. Also a fuel, oh, there is a lot of trucks in use here. We might need more warehouses in here, because this is actually getting full. And you know what? I may do 2 more warehouses in here. One there, and one should be petroleum, not on timber, please. Petroleum. Make this empty, and I'll talk about this in a second, but this is probably the most important part of this episode, so keep an eye out for that. Petroleum and plastic, is that what we need? Yeah, plastic. So I'll do the same thing in there with the transfer controller, and there we go. This will hopefully be used as a better buffer from these buildings over here, and will be a little bit easier to export all those trucks. Also add this little connection in here to help access for trucks to the highway without having to go all the way through here and there, avoiding a lot of traffic in that sense. So this is pretty good. We are making a lot of money as well. We went, I think, up 10 million just today, so that is quite crazy. And over here we still nothing much changed in there, and we do have our forestry industry around here. So mostly I use only this part in here because we do have the natural resources for that, and it's basically using the wood from all this area. If we look at the industry, all home production, everything, not importing anything as well. So this is all working quite well for us. All our buildings here are processing land, timber, and paper, as you can see. So we have everything that we might need just here. So all good in there. We have plenty of storage by the looks of it. Yep, and we are producing and making quite a lot of paper and wood. Also have a small village, so near every single industry we have at least a small village in there. And most of the roads I kept the original ones and added, like in cases like this where we made a grid in there, I've added a few more roads that doesn't have like any asphalt in there. So in all regions, with the exception of oil, have access to cargo stations on the same neighborhood, and we do have a few buildings in here like the medical clinic, firehouse, police station, and a school. We don't have high schools in these areas yet, at least yet. Oh, and we do have some water treatments and recycling center in there as well. But I think now everything is connected. But this is the farm industry. And oh, the farm industry, I did have the time to add this junction in here, which then I'll connect both sides in there and make good use of those connections. And for now, we just have this little bridge here for any trucks that get from the highway to get back in there. And the reason why I left it here like this was because this will keep going that way and we will build on this area. So we do have all the industries now, with the exception of the fish industry, which will come very, very soon. Now, talking about, let me go in here, because I mentioned some configurations in here. So, as you know, I use transfer controller, and for every area, every industry that we have, we do have neighborhoods, and we do have a industrial zone in there as well. So what this helps me with, especially in areas like the warehouse and storage, we can go into this little button in here for the transfer controller and say that to receive goods in these buildings, I have to remove some trees there, but to receive goods in these buildings, we won't allow imports and we'll just use the local district, or we'll prefer the local district. Now, what that means is that you'll never get, in this case, raw forest products by importing it. So we are producing everything in this area. And if you look at the statistics in here, we can see that everything is our own production. We are not importing anything. And I've done that for every single building. As you can see, even the processing plants, they are all set up like that. So that means that I'm allowing it to export everything that we can and that we need in here, but we are not importing anything at all, because otherwise we will be spending a lot of money that we don't need to spend, and that'll be just wasted, because we do have the resource in here. Sometimes it's just a matter of waiting a little bit. This also helps, like these buildings, to use the trucks within this area and not like pretty far away. And I'm actually thinking about adding another large yard like this one. I think that will actually help us. So just show you how I set this up. I'll go in here, I'll say no imports, prefer local district, and that's all. That's all I do. And I'll remove the trees from here. There we go. And this is starting to see some raw forest products. Everything is balanced, with the exception of the paper and the plant timber. That one is actually empty, so we can actually export this via train. So all in here is done, and I mentioned about some numbers, right? And by the way, these configurations I've done in every single industry that we have. So this makes everything a lot more efficient in that sense. Now, numbers. We've increased population to 102,000. I don't know if I mentioned last time, but we are now a megalopolis. So we've achieved all the goals in there. And we've looked at outside connections. Before, we were importing 4,933 items. Now we are importing just 3,500. So we've reduced that quite a lot. Most of the imports are still goods, but that doesn't mean like that we're importing too much, because we actually reduce by over 1,000 and a half actually, less imports in here. We are also exporting, almost half of our exports are goods. So this tells me that we are producing enough for our city. You always have some import there, so don't worry too much. Just mainly keep an eye on the numbers. If you're reducing those numbers, and it's like you can, it's it's equivalent, that's the word I'm looking for, to the exports, what you're importing and exporting. And as we can see, it's equivalent, obviously exporting a lot less goods, but because we're producing a lot more of the other items as well. But try to get that balance into importing, exporting more or less the same amount, and you should be all right. And try to export less goods than you're actually importing is also a good tip in there. So this is much better. In terms of employment, we have 4% unemployment. As I said at the beginning, we were aiming for between 4 and 5. 4 is the minimum you can go, and that's what we achieved in there. So we still have like 56,000 jobs available, so that is quite a lot. And also another quick tip for you, if you look at exports, you see that I'm producing quite a lot of goods in here, there, and there that we are using for exports. These are offices, so if you need just normal goods, you can also just use normal offices because these will also produce goods for you. So just a quick tip in there for these. What area is that one? This is for the IT district. All right, we are actually using, whoa, 30 trucks there. We might need, oh, we do still have this one, 30 trucks here as well. Okay, we might need more trucks. I might get another one of those, and we go into here, we expand our pedestrian area in there, still keep that one, and hopefully I can just copy and paste this one. I did in there, oh, I did something that I didn't want there. Here we go, that's what I want. This, I just want to make sure that this is still in that area, and there we go, working. This will hopefully help us. Look at the amount of trucks just getting out of that building. That's insane, that is insane. But yeah, this area is getting pretty busy, and the more we do there, the more we'll see that growing. And yeah, traffic-wise as well, we're still 84%. There are a few areas like this industrial area in here that's pretty busy. We might change that later on. This area is pretty good actually. And our farm fields are pretty good going. I still need to create a junction, a proper junction in there. And other than this one, this is ridiculous, but we'll get there. And then we have this area in here. Yeah, this is busy, but as you can see, everyone is just going there, so no problems at all, and no traffic inside here as well. So pretty good going. I really hope you've enjoyed that. So we went, just as a recap, from a 9% unemployment to between 4 and 5. Imports, we went from 4.9 thousand to 3.5, which is also amazing. We, like, money-wise, we are doing extremely well. And I think the next time will be a little bit of focus on some factories, because with all these 5-star industries that we put down in here, if you look at the unique factories, we've basically unlocked every single factory in there. And this is like the real money making for the industries DLC. So we're definitely looking into that. Looking at proper place, maybe making sure that we can grow some of these areas as well, and making it look interesting, because these areas are very industrial and I want to have that feeling in there. So that is the actual goal. But let me know in the comments what you think, and thanks a lot for all the comments, likes, for everyone that joins the Discord server. I appreciate you sharing your screenshots over there and talking about the game, your questions that you send already as well. If you want to join the server as well, the link is in the description. And just the only thing that is left for me to say is thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Take my chance and hold you close, and I'll follow you back home. If I could be somebody else, I would be your Romeo, and I would never let you go. Maybe I could be your stranger. One too many and strobing lights, yet I can spot you in this crowd, and my staring will